IntellectualRadio.com. Feed your brain. Feed me now. I'm starving.
Good morning. Good morning. This is the Fitness Representative Radio Show brought to you by the Fitness. This is the Fitness Report Radio Show brought to you by the Fitness Representative. Dreary day out, dreary mind. A lot going on right now. So, great show coming today. Got some tips going on. Got a special guest, and I got someone that's gonna give you guys a lot of information on influencer and what it is to be the top of their game. Even they haven't even scratched the surface yet. So we're gonna talk with them. But before we do, we got a mental tip coming up. It's Friday, and it is the TMH Mind Your Mental Tip of the Week coming to you from Titani. She's got a lot of info that we want to share, so we're gonna bring her on now. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. So we are waiting, and we want to know what's good this week. Set us off for Friday, and even though it's not too sunny.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So today's Mind Your Mental Tip is in honor of World Mental Health Day, which was yesterday. And so
Right.
I want to provide 5 ways in which you can take care of your mental health.
Okay.
So the first one is, which is I think is one of the most important, is valuing the most important person in your life, which is yourself.
Right.
Number 2 is surrounding yourself with good people. Number 3 is something I think you'll appreciate, is to move your body, exercise.
Right. True.
Number 4 is set realistic goals and expectations. And then number 5 is to do something nice for someone else.
Nice. Of course, they all are important, but which one do you think is sort of like the easiest to focus on, or the first one to get to for the person who hasn't even thought of any of them to even do in the first place? Which one do you think they should jump on first?
I think the first one is to start with yourself. So I always tell clients and people that I work with, if you're not good to yourself, then you're not good to anyone or anything else. So I think that's the first thing you need to do, is just value yourself and think about you first.
Right. Okay. So do you feel that number 5 is one that
Doing something nice for someone else?
Yes.
I think a lot of times we overextend ourselves too much for people.
Okay.
I think that's more common than we even think about.
Right.
You know,
knowing it, huh?
Yep. We have issues with saying no. That's a big thing, right? A lot of us struggle with that. Yeah.
Okay. So do you feel like we need to do you feel that there's any type of method that can be used to kind of level the two between doing for yourself and doing for others?
The place.
Okay. So what do you think about as far as when you think of mental tips, most people don't really think of mental tips because you can't really, a lot of times they don't think you can see them. And they don't understand that the mental tips manifest. So
yeah, when we talk about your mental, and let me just make this clear. We're talking mental. We're talking about your social, emotional, and psychological well-being.
Exactly.
And so when you think about those things, then you start to say, okay, that's my mental. So it's your social well-being, your psychological well-being.
Mentioned it about how it's basically a manifestation of what you think and what you feel and what you're going through on the inside. So as a fitness trainer, a lot of times we try to bring those 3 together. So as a therapist, do you feel that most people neglect the emotional and mental side, not knowing that it really does come over in how you act physically, like not knowing that it does show, you know?
Right. So when we talk about our emotional health, it affects how we think. On that, then we can sort of change some of those behaviors.
Right, and change how they come over physically.
Exactly.
What else you got for us? I wanted to go into one more thing. So last weekend you had the man cave, and we have been following you, and we have been following how how that was developing. This was the 1 year anniversary. And if you guys haven't the video online, if you go to Titani Harris and TMH, was really interested in it. Whether they showed up or not, that's a whole nother thing. But what did it? How'd it go? How'd it go?
So thank you for asking. So TMH Man Cave, Are You Angry or Depressed? The other side of Man Up was amazing. We had 22 men who came out to talk about the difference between being angry and being depressed.
Okay.
And so it was very engaging, very powerful. I think the men left knowing the difference. So, for example, we know that depression was different in everybody, particularly Black men. And
right.
So and share some testimonies regarding that issue. And so
right.
really excited, and they're already looking forward.
February 8th, y'all. Save the date. Gotta come out. Gotta come out. This is the perfect event for men to really let it out. This is the perfect event for men. TMH behavioral services, but it's gonna be ran. It's all men. So you'll have men on the panel. You'll have men in the crowd. It's one of those events where you can actually let out all of what you're feeling and all of what you're going through without feeling that you're judged and feeling that that what you think and feel doesn't count. So exactly. I really urge you guys to come on out. I've been put on. Okay, well, it was great talking to you. Thanks for the tip of the week. You guys go back and watch that and hear out what TMH has to say. Tip of the week, and it'll be on from here on. So you'll be hearing more and maybe even seeing more of the TMH tip of the week if you guys to change almost immediately.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, so thank you for having on this. Thanks for having me on the show today, and we will talk soon.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, bye.
Take care.
All right, guys. So, like I said, we got a good show coming today. We got someone coming to you all from Columbia, South Carolina via phone. And she's a homeschool mom. She's homeschooling. She's turned homeschooling into a business. She's turned it all the way into something special. So what we want to do, we want to have a introduction that's appropriate. We got Mrs. Shimei Owari, and she is on the line right now as we look to talk to her more about what she's got going on. Mrs. Shimei Owari, how are you today? Say thank you for joining the show. And I would like to thank you for joining our audience on Facebook Live as you are being added right now to the
It's giving me some trouble.
Well, I got you being added right now as we speak. So
okay.
Hopefully you accept the ad. I don't know. We trying to use technology to the fullest right now.
Definitely to the fullest.
Right.
Let's see here if I can.
Let's see. It was no answer from you on the request. Go ahead and request it if you would.
All right. I just sent you a request.
Okay.
Technical difficulties, but we're here.
Okay. Well, we want to keep it going. So, Mrs. Owari, we want to talk about a lot of things today. We want to talk about, first off, where did I even find you? That's the first question. There you go.
You can see me now, right?
Yes, I see you now.
Okay. Is there any echo?
Turn your volume down. All right, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So, how did you find me? I don't know. You would have to tell me. That would be something you would have to share.
Right. That's what leads me into it. So, the way I found Mrs. Owari is one of my Owari, I guess, saw and made a comment about it. And the comment was so inspirational that she actually pulled it and made a post. And Tiffany shared that story. And once I saw it coming from another sister, which you don't get a lot. You get a lot of hate. You get a lot of hate online, but you don't get too much love and recognition. So when I saw you, I'm like, who is this? So deeper, And I found you to be really passionate about a lot of different things that had to do with health and fitness. So that sparked me to get in touch with you and really say, hey, if she's about it like that, let's see what she's got to say. Let's see what her story is. And, I gave you a call and come to find out you got a lot going on. A lot going on.
Yeah.
So how
Yes,
you
I do.
so my first question is what brought you online in the first place? What were you thinking when you made that fit page?
Honestly, it was holding myself accountable.
Right.
I was, because I've been interested in fitness, health and fitness since my youngest baby, who was 5.
Okay.
After I had him, I've always been, a small person, but that weight just wasn't moving. I didn't feel like myself. And I was just like, I got to make a difference. I have 3 kids. I got stuff to do. And I was this severe space of depression.
Okay.
Postpartum depression on top of depression.
Okay.
And I really started with just one crunch. Like, no lie. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this one crunch and then I'm going to see what I do tomorrow. And then I started coming into contact with women that they were like inspired by what I was doing. And I was like, I probably should share this with someone. But I was afraid at first because I was like, if I share it, then I have to like stick with it.
You got to stick with it. Exactly.
Yeah. That made me get on social media to really just share my story, to say, okay, hold myself accountable, and to start just expecting my sisters to be held accountable too. We just got to move different now.
Right. So is that why you made it fit with it, in order to stick with it?
No, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a student. I'm a teacher because I homeschool my children.
Okay.
I work in the nonprofit sector, and I'm currently building my own grassroots nonprofit. So I needed to figure out a way to fit it in.
Right. And
to wrap my head around what it would involve in order to really take care of myself.
Okay. That's deep, and that's important. And the reason why I wanted to highlight you is because not only are you passionate about what you do, what we have in common is that we like to take care of the elderly. Of course, we're both parents, and we do a lot with the children, but we like to take care of the elderly. And we spoke on how passionate you are about being in the lives of those that are here, but that are of an older age. And we've talked about myself and how I've trained a lot of older people. So for me to see that passion is really in you, and it's not just pictures and videos, and she really does, she's in shape, she's in the gym. So what I wanted to know is, seeing that you got the look to put some substance behind that, that's a beautiful thing, but you just don't see it enough. So not to really take away from anything that anyone does online, but it's really refreshing to see that someone actually cares about a community outside of what it is to put up some pictures of themselves,
Right. I'm willing to share that. I'm willing to share that experience in that journey. But at the same time, like you said, I just know it has to be more. And like, I saw this meme once, and it was like, make sure you fine as hell on the inside. But doing it for the gram, so to speak.
And only for the gram.
Not doing it and only for the gram. And you're not doing it in real life.
Right.
And I didn't want to be a fraud, and in no way am I saying that I'm perfect. And I am very, what's the word? I would say I'm very particular about what I do choose to share, but it is me. If you meet anyone that knows me walking around, I'm always like a fun-loving person. I share my bad days. I share my good days, but pretty much I'm smiling through it all.
Right.
So.
Yeah, same here. I get a lot of flack for social media, but if it's me, then I don't mind getting the flack because it's actually me. If I'm fronting, then it's an issue because not only am I looking crazy, but it's not even who
Exactly.
So that, that's something that's tough to even hold up as a person, to like not even be who you are, and you getting flack for somebody that's not even you.
And this is why people exhausting.
Right. That's pressure.
You can't, right.
So we wanted to get into some details as far as, like, I want to hit some topics. And the first one, we talk about this, and this is a controversial thing, and it's been ever since it kind of came out, and you've turned it into an organization, homeschooling. I want you to briefly go into why you choose homeschooling over traditional schooling, and how you're basically, it's not anything new, and it's not like you're one of the first, but still, just to have the mindset of choosing to raise your kids and school them at home. Not all of us are courageous enough to do so. I wish I would have done it. What gave you that, that thought process?
Well, I'm gonna try to make it as brief as possible because I am very passionate about this.
Right.
So I'll choose my words, but in a nutshell, my daughter, she had a very bad experience when we tried at school. It was an art program or something like that.
Okay.
And long story short, her innocence was lost in the sense of being a person of color and coming to a realization at a very early age that people could just not like her for the color of her skin.
For that reason alone.
Right. And when the situation was brought to the attention of the director of the school, of the organization, she just was not ready to accept that was a reality for people that look like me or you.
Right.
And I was like, okay, we're going to have to reevaluate this because and then on top of it, my goal is to become location free.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to do that if you have to drop your kids off at a school every day. We've lived a life of where we like to travel when we like to travel. I used to live in Montreal for about 10 years. So coming back and forth to see family, and I wasn't ready to give that up.
Right.
So that was the main reason why. Those are the two main reasons why we began to homeschool.
Okay.
And
that's deep.
Went from there.
That's deep. And it gives you control of what your children know. It gives you control of what they ingest, as far as it gives you more control at a time when the streets can take them over, and a time when they can be nurtured by someone else other than you, which to me is never good.
One of the things that I've noticed about different communities, especially those that have experienced some form of oppression
right.
in society, they have a better understanding, I find, of the importance of insulating our children's experiences.
Right.
They do need to know the truth, and they do need to experience what it is to be someone like themselves in this world. But we do a disservice to our children if we just allow the world to dictate that.
Exactly.
And that's what homeschooling gives me. It gives me that insulation. My children are not sheltered or isolated, but they're insulated from a world that I know that in some cases will judge them based off of the color of their skin. So but that was a realization that came after, maybe a year after we began to homeschool.
And now because you have 3 children, are all of them school age?
Yes.
So, and everyone's being homeschooled?
Yes, 5, 6, and 10.
That's big ups to you, big ups to the husband, big ups to just that whole lifestyle, because that's not easy. And I'm pretty sure if more of us could do it, some of us would. I know I would. Not everybody, because a lot of parents use that time to get the kids out of there, and they don't want to have nothing to do with them, because you learn that, okay, for 8 hours I can be free. So that's part of it.
The thing too is that what I found with homeschooling is that we spend maybe a couple of hours a day doing actual, work what people would consider traditional.
Right.
The rest of their day, they spend doing the things that they love, and they really get the opportunity, and they can be a part of what I'm doing. So they can also see what it means to be someone that wants to make their own way.
Wow,
so
that's deep.
It's like, that's part of the lesson. So they do come along with me to like meetings and stuff like that. And they're like, okay, Mom, just, working, right now they're upstairs, they're doing their own thing. School is done for today, and they go into their own hobbies. Wow. They actually know how to entertain and educate themselves way better than what I've experienced, even as myself personally being a person that went to, a traditional public school.
So what about the social aspect? As far as like their friends and stuff like that.
I'm so glad you asked that question.
Because that's important.
That's one of the hugest myths about homeschooling. My kids are highly social. They're way more social than me. I think that the parents that homeschool their children have a harder time as far as maintaining a healthy social life. But my kids are active in so many activities and sports. We're always hosting events. And also I do run my own organization for African American homeschoolers. You can find us on Instagram, Acoma Homeschoolers, AKOMA.
Check it out, y'all.
We just provide support and activities and educational resources for African American families and those raising African American children, or just Black African from the diaspora, like anybody that can identify with Black melanated persons of color, because it is different for us.
Yes,
There's a certain, set of disadvantages that we face when we make this decision. And that's my goal, is to make it easier for people that say, I can't do it. There's so many other things, and there's so many other things. We could have a whole show about this.
Just that alone.
So to answer your question, socialization is not an issue. And there's different forms of homeschooling. You have eclectic homeschoolers, you have world schooling, you have car schooling, you have game schooling.
Wow.
You have hybrid schools, you have co-ops.
You get to control that.
It's just, they get to do what they want to do. My daughter finishes school. She does an art class. She's learning Spanish.
Wow.
She knows French. Like, she has the time to do the things that she enjoys.
So last thing before we move on, will your kids have to take like a standardized test based off what they've been schooled on? Like, will they go somewhere and take a test to say that, they've passed?
I'm blessed to live in one of the states that standardized testing is optional.
Okay.
Laws change according to state.
Right.
So it can vary. I know Georgia has very relaxed laws. North Carolina, their laws are pretty decent. Florida, Texas, really good laws. And I do try to help families. So even if someone's listening that they just want more information, you can always contact me. I'm an open book. I try to help people find the information they need when they just want to, that first 30 days of getting yourself legal, because you do need to be legal.
Right. Okay.
But as far as standardized testing, it's optional for me. I will standardize test my children. Not right now.
Right. Not right now.
We're considered eclectic homeschoolers, and I take some of the values from Waldorf.
Okay.
Teaching style.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that involves no grades before the 7th grade.
Nice.
Not much emphasis on testing and things like that. So we don't do
so
tests.
They can develop mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
Right. That's really smart, because a lot of kids get teased and picked on and bullied even based off what they do and don't know, or based off what society says they do and don't know based off standardized tests. So that's huge to get them right emotionally, to get them up to speed basically on how they feel about certain things before they go into that jungle.
Yeah, and I encourage anybody listening to undo everything that you think you know about education.
Right.
Every single thing. The more that I dive into the history of education and its origination, even the university system of college universities, it's mind-blowing. And, I'm working on putting together a book to compile all that information, to really share with our people, for them to see that you just got to unlearn everything that you think you know and relearn, because you'll see that it is completely opposite of what we've been told.
Right. Wow. Well, I hope that everything goes well as far as the homeschooling organization.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing more with that, especially through the Instagram. Tell them where to go see that again.
Yes, it's at Akoma Homeschoolers. Akoma is a West African, a Ghanaian word that means heart. So we homeschool from the heart.
Nice.
It's AKOMA, Homeschoolers.
So it's
We're
at
also on Facebook. We do have a local support group,
right.
Akoma Homeschoolers of the Carolinas. You can find us if you're in the North and South Carolina region. You can join that group. We're also looking for other people that would like to start their own support groups
Right.
under the umbrella of Akoma. If you're in a different region and you're interested, contact me.
Nice. So you guys, you hear that? You hear where the information is. Go back and check it out if you don't catch it now. But we're gonna move on, and the last and most important thing I wanted to talk about, which we spoke on the phone about. Now, I lived in North Carolina for 8 years, raised my family down there, raised my children down a little bit of the time, raised my children down there, and we always hear, and even if you watch TV, you always hear about the Geechee tribe. You always hear about the Geechees, and it's almost like a derogatory term. And I wanted to touch on it today because when I basically interviewed you over the phone, you told me something very special, and you said that basically you were a part, just born into that piece of
my family is Geechee or Gullah.
right, or Gullah, which is. But hold on, one sec. What's the proper term for the people?
Well, that depends on the region they're from, because you have Geechee or Gullah people along the coast.
The coast, right, all the way through like Louisiana, right?
I think there's some in Louisiana.
I think so.
Possibly,
right.
Because I learned more about it just meeting other Geechee or Gullah people.
Okay.
And then I started to dig deeper. But yeah, you have so like those in Georgia, they tend to want to be called Geechee.
Right.
But more so in the South Carolina area, it's interchangeable.
Right.
My family is from Charleston.
Okay.
I've always been under the impression that we were Geechee.
Okay.
So I guess it varies on the family.
So do you think that, because I remember watching Martin. I watched Martin, and he made a skit out of it on one of his episodes saying that the day of the Geechee is over, and that comes from, I think it comes from a blaxploitation film in the 70s, I believe.
Okay.
And they talked about the Geechee, and if you go look back, it was a lot talked about it during blaxploitation films, and a lot of those people were from the South. It's probably something that you could look up. But the reason why I was so amazed about meeting someone that's part of it, because I met one guy I was in the military with who was from South Carolina. He was from I forgot the name of it. PD Island.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from PD, and he always spoke on it, but he talked about it. He was the first one to put me on to the fact that it's not derogatory, and it's actually a people, and it's someone to respect because of the long history. So do you teach about it? Do you teach your children about it? Do you teach them to be proud? How do you feel about it?
Oh, I'm very proud of my heritage.
Right.
I think that it's a gift to me because, being African American, so much of our culture has been robbed and exploited.
Right.
So to be able to say, okay, I know, and there's a wonderful documentary about this. I want to say it's called Home Across the Sea, where they actually went to West Africa.
Nice.
And they met with the president of Sierra Leone, and he actually came to James Island in South Carolina.
Really?
And he was speaking with the people. They compared the baskets, the cuisine, everything was identical
to their own.
It wasn't much that was lost.
Right.
So to that, and my grandmother shared that with me. And when she shared that with me, it allowed me to see that this is a culture. We should be preserving this way better.
Right.
But also with her generation, like you said, I think it was seen as a derogatory term because, you know, they speak of patois, the broken English. I have some cousins that they don't even know English.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like mumble rappers.
Right.
They might be geeky.
It's a whole other lingo.
Right.
But, you know, there was this like distancing of the culture. But I remember growing up as a kid, like listening to my aunts and my uncles talk and just certain things that I didn't realize it was a culture because we never discussed it. But then when I got out there and I started to meet more people, I was like, oh, this is a culture.
Right.
This is heritage.
Yeah, and that's what I learned living in the Carolinas, going between North and South Carolina for almost a decade. I learned how important it was to not only know where you came from and who you are, but to embrace it, to try and always be proud about it because it is what it is. It's basically that. And South Carolina was huge in the trade of slaves and huge in where the people settled and actually became respectable.
And it's really only happenstance when you think about it, because the reason why the culture has been preserved the way it has there is because of the living conditions. And there was rice, you know, the living conditions and the working conditions to grow rice.
Right.
You know, slave master can't take that.
Right.
They're not able to handle those conditions.
Right. Yeah.
So they had to leave us to our own devices in a lot of cases. So some of the things that, you know, were put in place to try to suppress the culture just could not exist in that space.
Right.
So I find that I consider myself, I mean, in a very horrible situation, historically speaking, it's still considered a blessing.
Exactly.
To be able to say that it still exists. So I teach my kids, they know, and like my husband, he's Ghanaian. So
okay, right.
They understand that there's a difference.
So so Owari is a Ghanaian name?
Yes.
Nice.
I'm really directly related to the Wilders, the Felders, and anybody that's geeky that's listening to this, they might just message you and be like, I think she my cousin or something. They gonna say something. But the Wilders, the Felders, the Campbells, and the Scotts.
Nice. All that's in there. Are they throughout the U.S. or pretty much in that same Southeast region?
A lot of them stay in the same Southeast region. Like, you know, I think when it comes to like being geeky, you have like those large communities of family.
Right.
They know you, but you might not know them. So I could probably go to Charleston and be like, hey, I'm such and such granddaughter. And they'd be like,
right.
Yeah. I've actually met family members in different states that we found out we were related because they might, you know, I say, oh, you geeky? They'd be like, yeah. And then the next question is, what's your family name?
Right.
And you find out your cousins or something. So it's cool.
Yeah, and it's like that throughout the African American community anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of make it more exact, that makes it a little bit easier to find out who you came from, where you came from, without having to do this huge DNA deal.
Right.
So,
and my thing is this, I do want to say this. If anybody is geeky or Gullah that's listening,
right,
really preserve that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a gift. That's a gift to have a language of communication.
Right.
To have a culture and a heritage that dates back to Africa, that you can you can pinpoint these things.
Right.
To have a certain set of values. I know there's certain values and things like my aunts and my mother always talking in parables, and so you got to try to figure out what they're talking about.
Find it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on to that. And I think it was in 2000.
Uh-huh.
The Geechee Gullah Nation has now been defined as a nation within a nation.
Okay.
Just like the Native American tribes that are here.
Nice.
So there's things that come along with that.
Right.
Because, you know what I mean? So, like, if you are a Geechee or Gullah, go claim that heritage
and cultivate it. Mm-hmm.
And find out more about it.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for joining the show. Great conversation today. Great way to start up some knowledgeable topics that you can actually go find. Before we leave, we want to know where can we find you and how we can get in touch with you on social media.
Cool. So I'm on Facebook as Shimei Awari. Nothing fancy there.
Right. And she's tagged too, y'all.
Huh?
And she's tagged, so y'all will see her on the tag.
Oh, okay. And I also have my fitness page on Instagram at fit.wit.it.
Right.
If you're interested in my fitness journey, that's where you will find me there. If you're more interested in homeschooling stuff, you can follow me at shimei.awari. That's more of a glimpse of what I do as far as homeschooling.
All right, cool.
And that's pretty much it.
All right, well, we want to thank you for joining the show. Glad to have you as a guest. Blessings to you and your family. Blessings in the homeschool journey. And she's an aspiring fitness pro. So you guys help me follow her and see that journey. You'll hear from her again as she becomes certified and get into this whole fitness and training thing.
Yay!
This has been the Fitness Report radio show brought to you by the Fitness Representative. You guys have a wonderful weekend and be fit, be blessed. Peace.
Don't wanna let it go. Don't wanna let you go. Don't wanna let you go. Let go.